Welcome to Align Your Practice, an exploration of the seamless relationship between the business of chiropractic and the future of natural health care. Join us as we engage with an array of talent, from seasoned experts to passionate new entrepreneurs. Now, here's your host, Dr. Joe Esposito.
Welcome to Align Your Practice podcast with Dr. Joe Esposito. I'm excited today to talk about the integration of healthcare in the gym industry. I have two friends, colleagues, great business owners, Don and Tammy Murphy. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Thanks.
I think, Don, we'll start with you first. I mean, I was a gym rat growing up when I was young. I was the skinny little rodent in high school wrestler. I think I wrestled at, I don't know, did they have a 69-pound class? I don't know. I was, I think 113 or something like that. And I got into weightlifting and whatnot. So I was like in that gym environment. I'm not going to tell my whole story, but once I learned health, my life changed dramatically, even though I worked out 8 years earlier. And you probably have the similar story once you learn all the other things. But anyway, my journey was in the gym network, and it was very different than what I saw here. So I met Tammy and Don through a friend of mine, Dr. G, that we're all friends with. And when I went to their gym, guys, if you're watching this podcast, I've never seen anything like this. Like, I literally was thinking, can I work here? Like, I'm not kidding. I think I'm one of the busier guys in chiropractic. And I was like, how do I work here? Like, this is so my space. So if you ever get an opportunity to see this place, I can't explain it. So, Don, why don't you tell me about what you think of this industry? I mean, I think you're... Can we give you accolades? Are you vice president now of the Gold's Gym Association?
The Gold's Gym Franchise Association, yeah.
Gold's Gym Franchise. So of all the franchises, Don's the VP of the whole organization. That's pretty awesome. So what do you see as this in your journey in this industry, real quick?
Yeah, so real quick, my story goes back to when my mother opened up her first gym in the early 80s. And then in 1986, ended up purchasing what is now Gold's Gym in Newburgh, New York, the facility that you're speaking about. She got into it back in the day. She was involved with classes and whatnot. I was in high school at the time, just like you, skinny kid on the swim team, the skinniest kid on the team. I'm like, this isn't working. I need to do something. So I started bench pressing at a local country club, and that was it. I just fell in love with weightlifting. But more than that, I fell in love with what it was doing for me mentally, emotionally, my self-confidence. Like, just working out just did something for me that made me a better person. And so it was in my blood to grow up and evolve with what has become the largest Gold's Gym in the country in Newburgh. And then Tammy and I opened up our second facility in Middletown, New York. And to see what it has become from back then to what it is now, over 13,000 members, and the different walks of life coming through the doors for reasons that are much more than just lifting weights and aesthetics. And my meeting Tammy and I met 12 years ago. I've been married for almost 11 years. And Tammy at the time went on her own personal health journey. And it was profound for me. Tammy, being as fit and beautiful as she is, there were things happening on the inside that were disrupting her life, disrupting our relationship, disrupting her ability to be the best version of herself. And so she did a lot of research, and she met Dr. G, who really turned her life around. And what she started to bring to me was an awareness of the challenges that so many people are facing inside and not externally. You know, Tammy has said to me multiple times, it's healing from the inside out. Health and well-being is from the inside out. Too many people perceive it as the outside in. And that has what led to the type of offering that we now bring from a place like Gold's Gym in Newburgh, which is a Gold's Gym. Gold's Gym is the godfather of strength and fitness. That's the legacy of what this brand is. It's strength and fitness. It's the old bodybuilding, but we've evolved to become so much more than that here in our community, largely due to the mindset that Tammy brought and the way we speak to the community. And to be quite honest, what AlignLife has taught us in terms of how to be healthy and fit from the inside out. And Tammy can speak to more of that. But I think there's just a massive amount of opportunity now in the fitness industry at large to bring these two worlds together, to merge them in the right space. And that's what's happening here.
That's awesome. Yeah, Tam, if you could dive into, I mean, your background and your passion is in natural healthcare. You own a Gold's Gym, but when we met, you were right. We were connected on our philosophy like brother, sister. It was like we were finishing each other's sentences. It was like, oh my God, I want to talk to her more. And so what was your thought on bringing this connection of AlignLife into the gym? And a little bit of your background, just so people know it.
Yeah, it kind of evolved over about a year and a half. But my background was in finance. So I was in the hedge fund world, offshore, Bermuda, the Cayman Islands, and I landed in Manhattan. So I was in the thick of it. And as Don had alluded to, you know, I looked the part. I looked fit. I never had a weight problem, but I always had, a poor lifestyle. I lived that lifestyle that one would in finance. You're overworked. You don't take time to eat. You don't take time to exercise. It wasn't a priority. And it kind of crept in to create some health issues. So I met Dr. G, and I always say he sounds like a superhero when you call him Dr. G. And he really was mine. And he was pivotal in changing the trajectory of my life, basically. I left finance. Went on a protocol with him, was introduced, he's a chiropractic neurologist, so I was introduced to the chiropractic community, and then dialing the nutrition and the exercise in with that 3-pronged approach really changed my life. So much so that I did leave the fitness industry. At the same time with meeting Don, everything was thrusting me into that holistic, lifestyle. And I said to Don, I said, it's crazy that, everything we've gone through, because our relationship was being tried with my health issues that I was having. Again, on the outside, I looked great, but on the inside, I was a boiling eruption, just waiting at any time to mood and debilitating fatigue. And if anybody has autoimmunity, you can maybe relate to that. And I was able to control it and put it in complete remission. So I said to Don, it's crazy how many people must be struggling out there with the same issues, but not knowing how to find the answers. He always made a joke and said, the divorce rate is probably through the roof as a result of some of these health issues. It's probably because of health. I don't know how much of that is true, but it really did a number on us early on. So we have this fitness facility, and what are we doing? We're putting machines out. We're putting deals out for memberships. We're trying to lure people in. It's kind of a leaky bucket concept where the people are coming in. Maybe they stay for 4 months, maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months. Majority may be donators. What are we really truly trying to do here? And I said, there's a big gap. Especially when in the midst of COVID, I think it's even more awareness around it. And people are trying to look for those solutions, but they're disjointed. They're all over the place. There's a wellness here. The gym industry looks at wellness in terms of putting red light therapy in a corner or an infrared sauna. That's their solution. Where we wanted to step back and say, what is the true solution? And that's really trying to affect change in an individual. And how can we do that? Well, we know that we have to have these pieces of the puzzle, right? Stress management, exercise, nutrition, sleep. Those 4 factors, those 4 pillars are huge. So we thought, well, if we can bring them all under one roof where we're dealing with the stress from the structural perspective, the chiropractic, the metabolic stress that we have, delivering the exercise, we're good at that. We have that down. But how can we perfect that whole package? And when we met you, Joe, you're right. I was just like, this is like, who is this person? I thought Dr. G was the only superhero. So now we have 2 on the block. And then I got invited to the Revolution, and I was completely blown away. So the AlignLife Revolution is the annual convention. And when I attended that, not as a franchise owner, but just to dip my toe in. Joe invited me to that, and I got home. Don, you remember how ecstatic I was? I thought, wow, I am in a room surrounded with all these people that think and feel exactly the same way. I'm like, I found my tribe. I found my people. I'm like, oh my gosh. And now we're in a situation where we've got the clinic open. We're doing our thing. We have 13,000 members here in this facility. So it is like a community within itself. And we've just started to serve those people. Where the future lies, we think, is bigger in that it is proving. First, I think we have to prove that we can actually enact that change that we so hope for and really change their health and marked health. You're able to see it. You're able to see it in blood work. You're able to see it on our in-body scans. You're able to see it on the x-rays with chiropractic, everything. And that we then open more locations and really drive a revolution or a change in that industry and be that one place that this is where you go if you want to have a change in your life. So I don't know if that
from an owner perspective on what Tammy's saying, Joe, I think, and what Tammy's saying from a gym owner perspective, what's happening now in the fitness industry, I know a lot of gym owners and have been in it for a long time. I speak at conferences and, I get into a lot of heartfelt dialogue with the challenges that owners face. And one of the things that is lacking in our industry is the solution or solutions to really bring about the whole package of health, fitness, and well-being, the whole package. So like Tammy alluded to, you get the gym owners that go, oh, I'm going to get a red light therapy thing in the corner over here. I'm going to get a cryo plunge here. And they don't know all the facets that go into all the pillars, as Tammy puts it, the pillars of truly being healthy and fit. And that's what this hybrid model brings. And then on a business level, gym owners are looking for a return per square foot. What is my return on the square footage that I'm allocating to different services and programs in the gyms? Well, something like AlignLife is bringing a tremendous potential return in a very small footprint within the gym. And that's a very powerful thing, that you could market the whole package of health, fitness, well-being and have a tremendous amount of return on a business level because it's all there under one roof.
That's great word dialogue for a doctor that's listening that wants to open in a gym. Maybe they're a student, whether they want to work in your facilities or maybe they want to go to another facility. That languaging, how much value can you bring per square foot? You may pay a higher rent for them. You may bring in new clients for them. So if you're trying to open a gym, you want to understand, go visit. Maybe if you guys would spend 5 minutes with a doc that is looking for a gym opportunity to guide them on what do they look for, how do they have the conversation. I know you guys would be the right people to talk to. If you're a fitness-minded doctor and you love that space, please reach out to Tammy and Donna, at least talk to them there. So I've done it a number of times, and I want to give some advice to the audience. If the owners are not into health and they have no care that in the outcome, it's just a money process, I think it's going to be hard for you to be successful unless you have a good relationship and you have a common values. What I love about working with you guys is we have a common values. A couple of the gyms I worked with, the values were the same. A couple weren't. And we were just stuck in the back and we were chained to whatever we could drum up ourselves. Second piece of advice is always have exposure. Make sure there's signage. Make sure it's warm and welcoming. You can't be down a hall in a corner in a closet. You won't have the exposure. You need open access to people with signage. Don't compromise on that. You need to have the ability to communicate to trainers and front desk and actually teach if the owner will allow you to. I would give them discount care or incentivize them for their tours. A big part of what I did was the tour. I taught the new staff the tour, and they came by and it was all make or break on that tour of what they said. And with the turnover at the front, it was very volatile and it required a lot of work on the front end part for me there. Where I won really big is I put training course together for the trainers, and I taught them what Tammy's saying, healing from the inside out. I taught them how the spine works. I taught them physiology. I taught them enough that they felt like champions, that they would dialogue to clients and they would bring them over, and I give them a high five. You're right on, right place. I'll get them going and get them back to you. And we built this synergy between us and the trainer. It started as an ego thing, like, I'll fix them. Well, they don't need you. Well, I need, and that's how we started. Ego, ego, ego. And then I learned to say, you know what? I think trainers have more value than a lot of medical physicians. And I don't mean that facetiously or disrespectfully. But if I was to take rheumatology and a lot of these other chronic disease mindsets and don't do any of that work, but put them in a gym, drink water, and eat healthy, the outcome of their life is so different. So trainers are, to me, sounds a little aggressive, but I think they're an essential part of the health journey of this country. And we have to start speaking to them in that light. That's how I feel. And as chiropractic, I think we can bring that together in such a beautiful, synergistic way. And I appreciate you guys being not necessarily pioneers, it's been done, but pioneers to make it in everyone's household and everyone's mindset that these are your healthcare team. You have a trainer, a chiropractor, you have a health coach, you got a gym membership. And that's just what you do. You join the gym and you get all that stuff. That's my vision of the future and why I want to team up with you guys and show this to hundreds of places around the country. So any other tidbits or practical pieces to give? Let's give them a little nuggets. A doctor that wants to come in, I'll give one or two, and then maybe you guys help me out. You're in a tribe. You're in a family of members. There's no hard selling. There's no telling them they got to get care. They're going to be there every day working out. So be patient, build relationships, give them opportunity, but don't tell them they need anything. Have them come in, show them an x-ray, say these are the options, and we're here for you. It's a little softer because you're going to be in that family for a long time, the members. If you burn out those members and you give forced care, you don't treat them well, you may get stuck, right? Because it's the family of those members. Do you guys agree with that, or any other points for a doctor?
100%. And
it's definitely
really
a community.
about providing wisdom, providing knowledge and helpful education and inspiration. That's how those relationships get forged. And that's how people start to trust each other in what they're suggesting versus, like you talked about, the hard sell. You got to get this package. And no, you come into a facility like that. If you're a doctor going into a facility like that, you want to give of yourself. Do your talks, give value, inspire people with your knowledge and inspiration and what you know can help them in their journeys. And that's the other thing, like from a doctor's perspective, if you're a chiropractor out there who's looking to start their business, you can go rent some square footage in a plaza somewhere and you're going to pay X per square foot depending on the town you live in, versus if you seek out the gym operator that's looking for return per square foot, there's such tremendous potential in a partnership, if you will. Well, maybe they're paying some rent, but you as that doctor who's bringing value to your community are going to bring people into the facility that maybe had never any intentions of going to that gym, but because you're there in that facility, you're bringing people in from the community. The gym owners are going to love that. That's the synergy. The gym owner sees the value in that. Wow, this doctor is helping people in the community. He's bringing people in. He's helping my members. My members are going to stay longer. There's just so much win-win in that type of a relationship. And it's an easy conversation for a doctor to have with an owner if they're equipped with the right message to bring and the right conversation to have with that owner.
I was just going to echo what Don had said. We're seeing patients that are coming in from outside that have never stepped foot inside of Gold's Gym. And so it's amazing to see that actually happening. Another thing that's happening is, you'd think at a gym that it's a lot of fitness related people, and it is, but there's also, families. So we do have a daycare, and a friend of mine, kind of started the the more, I guess, bringing children in, because she trusted me and she knew me. So she reached out. She said she needed help. Her child was a little baby, was constipated, and she brought him in, and Dr. Jean adjusted her, and immediately the baby started passing gas, and, completely with right there in moments, made change in that child. So I think, when we think of just gym members, it can expand to their families, right? It can start with that individual, but then it opens up to the family. So even though we're located in a gym, it can be, whatever that doctor wants that practice to be. It can still be a family-based practice. I think the biggest thing in terms of coming into a gym is making sure that, well, one, they love the gym environment. I believe that you probably should live the part if you're going to be in that environment to be able to influence or educate. And then I think making sure that the gym owner is aligned with what you're doing. If some gym owner just says, oh, great, you're going to give me X dollars rent, maybe you'll bring in a few new members, is that going to be enough for you to be able to work cohesively with them, infiltrate the community to send that message clearly? And I think that that's a key point. And what I love about our relationship is that, one, we've aligned with you, Joe, so you'll be helping us drive it with your expertise. And that, we have a facility here that, is 35 years in the making, trust of the community. Don is the face of that gym, and he lives and breathes that, what he's speaking, what he's doing. He also has a huge following, if you will. He's a bit of a visionary, and he's always trying to find things that are cutting edge and making sure that the gym is really up to or exceeding the average. And so because of that, and because of his history in the industry, he has a lot of influence. He speaks at URSA and other conferences. He's going to be a keynote speaker at another event later on this year. So, having those avenues so you can grow with them and partnering with the right gym operator is key. Key for growth for everyone.
Joe, I just got to echo, and just to echo something Tammy just hit upon, the synergy and the importance of that synergistic relationship between the fitness facility and the likes of, say, AlignLife, the wellness facility. That has made the value, AlignLife has made the value of Gold's Gym in the eyes of the members so much greater because of the things like the tools, the blog content, the wellness content, all the great things that come from an organization like AlignLife. That type of, just look at the blog content alone. We don't have tools like that within our Gold's Gym world to be able to share with the gym members. Now, all of a sudden, it's this messaging to our members in the newsletter that goes out. Dear members, we are pleased to extend the following wellness resources to members of Gold's Gym. And they see it as this partnership in this big facility. There's a partnership happening. And the members love it. They're like, my God, look at all this great stuff I'm getting from this other part of the gym. The harmony is tremendous. And that's what needs to happen for the industry to really go to that next place. Yeah.
That's amazing insight. Yeah. Leveraging the resources better.
Yeah.
And using the same demographic of people that are empowered and want the outcome. What a beautiful synergy that we all know, and we're excited for the future. If you're a student, let's say, and you're listening to this, I'd like to do a symposium one time a year at the Gold's Gym, the beginning of this movement in Newburgh, New York, the largest Gold's Gym in the world, in the country. And I'd like to, if you're interested, just go to AlignLife, reach out to AlignLife and talk to one of our support team members and find out when we're going to do that. And we can handle up to 15, 20 students for a half day or full day event that I'll teach. And then we'll be able to catch a good workout at the gym, take a tour of the facility, and let Don and Tammy express their vision of what they see in the gym industry. So whether you want to work in a gym, an employee, you want to own a practice in a gym, you want to build a relationship with a gym owner, whatever it may be. But I love what Tammy said. You fit the part. You're into the fitness. You walk the walk, right? You're passionate about that. That's kind of number one. You have to have common values, and then you got to make sure the gym owner has those values. But we can teach this to you at one of our symposiums that we'll do for students or young doctors. You may be a doctor in practice as an associate and ready to move on your own, or want to just move out of one facility into a fitness facility and just enjoy the value that something like this brings. So thanks so much, guys. And I do appreciate what you're saying, Don, about the value. You've told me in the past that some of the AlignLife assets are stronger than this huge organization of
100%.
Coach Jim.
100%.
Look forward to this, guys. If you're a listener, please reach out. We'd love to connect you to Tammy and Don when they have time to speak to you. And we want to help you all be successful and help our patients just live a better life. So thanks for getting on, guys. I'd love to have you on in the future as you start to make your vision come true.
Thanks, Joe.
This episode was brought to you by AlignLife Chiropractic and Natural Health Centers. If you're interested in creating your dream practice or want to know more about AlignLife, go to AlignLifePodcast.com.